Raising it. Hello, everybody, and welcome to South Carolina Linux Users Groups, the Upstate Carolina Linux User Group here in Greenville, and Columbia Linux Users Group, COLA-LUG in Columbia. Hi, Ben. How's everybody doing? Tonight, we've got a treat. We've got an introduction to the Briar protocol and a little bit showcase about the local alt computing groups, Folk Computer,
Folk OS, yeah.
Folk OS.
They call it an operating system, like canonically, but it's all running on Linux. That's the tie-in. That's the big tie-in.
And just so everyone knows, we're here at Synergy Mills on Bernie Street in Greenville, South Carolina, and they've got here's a little flyer here. They have regular workshops and open houses, and
Open house tomorrow.
Open house tomorrow. Isn't there a welding session teaching?
On the 15th, there's a welding session for anyone that's interested in that.
And then they have a jam session every once in a while with loud guitars and something.
Yeah. The most recent one was like a week ago. So next quarter they'll have one. But there's like a bunch of, I think 2 or 3 more open houses this month.
Yeah.
So there's one like tomorrow, and then maybe a week after that next Wednesday there might be one. It's all on Meetup. If you look at meetup.org.com,
right.
Whatever the canonical Meetup domain is, you can just Synergy Mill has one set up for it.
And again, it's Synergy Mill, and they also have a relationship with OpenWorks. If you have an OpenWorks membership, or you have a desk or even a chair, they have some sort of relationship that you can come and work on your projects here. So I will let you, Paul.
Cool. All right, yeah, don't worry about it.
Say it again for me.
Lorenz.
No,
that's an annoying one.
I think the last spectrum when
Yeah.
Just Paul.
Yeah.
Just Paul. So Paul, take it away. This is Briar, and as you talk and point, I will try to zoom in everyone. So, but feel free to everyone online, if you can't see it, just holler at me. Okay?
Yeah. No. First of all, folks at home, a lot of this might come we're going to be doing a lot of like screen stuff, and then also this stuff, and it's also going to be kind of a workshop bit at the end, so a lot of it might not transfer that well. So I apologize in advance. And obviously, thanks for the people to come out to the space.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
New space for today.
Hey, I think you need to expand your screen, Jace.
Well, I guess the only way to do that is to back up.
No. You're only like 1/6 of the screen.
Okay.
I think you need to present.
So since I'm using a camera instead of a presentation, I don't know, which is why I was asking you to be the leader. Everyone follows me. So you click on it.
Okay.
It makes full screen.
All right, I'm trying to figure out how to do that. Shoot. Okay. All right.
I think I set him as the center stage before you came on, Ben. So he might be okay. Someone else can chime in that's on the, on the call, but I think I've got, Jace is kind of the main video shared.
Is everybody seeing them as huge or just 1/6 of the screen?
Now I just changed from the grid button at the bottom there, and I can see the person who's talking.
Full screen?
And L says he sees 1/6.
It's just gigantic me the entire time. Nothing wrong with that.
Okay, I've moved to. I don't see the option that makes them big. Well, maybe. Okay, here we go. We're good now. I just had to click on the middle of the screen. All right, you're good.
We make it.
Take it away.
Arnold says if you see full, he sees full screen. It's gone now. Okay.
I think we're good, right?
Yeah.
Good?
So I tell you what, you tell us about the setup.
Yeah. So
Or,
today,
I'm sorry, you had a.
what happened?
Go ahead.
We good?
Yes.
Really? So today I kind of wanted to focus on, it's again this weird kind of combination of two projects. One is this project called Briar, which is I have the t-shirt. It's the open source project that I actually actively kind of contribute to, and it's the main one that I kind of actively contribute to. And basically it's a messaging app that is kind of like Signal. It's an encrypted messaging app, but the kind of interesting bit of it is that you don't need any servers to use to use the fundamental features of Briar. You can kind of argue that you do need to use servers whenever you're connected to the internet and using the Tor network, because Tor has bootstrap servers and it needs to have community run servers running infrastructure and stuff like this. But there's no servers that kind of act as the canonical storage location for all of your data. All of that happens on device, and essentially what's going on under the scenes is when you're messaging with people, what's going on is you're basically depositing messages to like a repository, almost like a Git repository, and then whenever you're able to make a connection to someone, one of your contacts, basically sync all of the repositories that you're into. If that makes sense. So we can run kind of the classic demo of Briar. These things both don't have any internet. I definitely, these are the first times that I've been here. The other aspect of Briar that I don't even think I mentioned yet is that it uses this, because you don't need any servers or anything, you can do interesting things like if we have our Bluetooth all on.
So this is a mesh network.
Yeah. So we'll show when it's just one-on-one messaging, it's not that interesting. Let's see. So you can see already they're connected. There's that little green identifier. Oh, that's not heat test. So this is over Bluetooth right now. What was that? It's probably not. Oh yeah. It's still running. It's still running. So this was, they're not connected to, this isn't a LAN, this isn't anything. This is the first time I've ever brought these out of my apartment. So this is completely over Bluetooth, which is super interesting. And kind of the whole idea is that because you don't need any servers going on between anything, you can, whatever's doing the data transfer can be any arbitrary kind of data transfer physical transport. Yeah. So people mess around with like doing all sorts of packet radio with Briar and stuff like that.
Wow.
Which doesn't work great because Briar was built for TCP and like those types of bandwidths, not packet radio bandwidths. If you're interested in packet radio, there's other things in that area that are probably more suited for this. But yeah, anyways, so it's a chat app that's really a kind of decentralized peer-to-peer sync algorithm that's going on under the hood. Did you get a chance to see the demo? By the way, anyways? So it's not that interesting. It's just like we say hello, we can do that. But they basically use this fundamental idea of syncing data between peers to implement all sorts of fun things. Where, like, if I have this phone has Bob. This is Bob's phone, and this is Alice. So Alice can share Bob. So now we can actually accept contacts. So in this way, you're actually able to like propagate and distribute people's like contact information in like a secure way, where it's rather than needing some central service or something like that, or some like repository for doing name resolving. You can just kind of make introductions kind of organically, kind of like how real life things work, where you make introductions to your friends, and in this way you're able to kind of expand the connectivity networks. So again, when it's one-on-one messaging, which is what we see here, things aren't that interesting because Briar takes some interesting stances on metadata protection, where it basically will never, like if these two are out of Bluetooth range and we have another Briar user in the middle, these one-on-one messages won't propagate. It won't like send an encrypted blob to this phone in the middle, which could be like a potentially untrusted party or something like that, and then propagate that encrypted message to Alice and then or Bob, and then Bob will get that message. That's like the most common misconception about Briar, is because people like start using it and expect this behavior. But that only happens in the group chat setting, because the idea is that in the group chat, when you send a message to the group chat, you're expecting it to be kind of like visible to a lot more people. So when you're on a one-on-one message, Briar takes a stance that the only person that should ever get any metadata about this conversation is the contact that you're talking to. Whereas in a group chat, it says like, okay, this is because you're in a group chat, the kind of assumptions about what metadata is leaked is a bit lesser. Because if, especially they have public group chats and private group chats, where public means that anyone in the group chat can share it with anyone. So you get this very viral nature of the group chat. So when you're in those types of group chats, which are called forums in Briar, Briar takes a stance that those are like, just by definition of what they are, they're a lot more open. So it has that more open connectivity. Actually, if all these three devices, if I get on my middle device, if all these three are all in the same group chat, then they'll able to kind of fully mesh and do all the things that people expect. But again, it will only be syncing that data of the group chat repository. If that makes sense. Okay. And if we want, we could try. You want to try making a group chat?
Eric is our volunteer.
Oh, and there's also a Linux and desktop versions for the folks at home.
Oh, awesome.
We're going to go through in person this weird little QR code dance, which is kind of unique to Briar. And I'm not a cryptographer, but I think you have to, it's like a way to get around like man in the middle attacks and all kinds of have strong properties. So yeah, so we have one QR code. And so now you have to do it both ways, which is very strange. So now you scan mine. And basically what it's doing, do you have a little thing?
Yeah.
Cool. Here, if you mind showing your phone. So what's going on right now is there's a Bluetooth transfer going on that got started by using identifiers in both of the QR codes. So look at that, it works. Now you have Alice. So now, and again, this phone has no internet. Eric has you have 5G or something like that. But I don't have any internet on this. And the kind of cool thing is that if anyone at home could add contacts with Eric, then any messages, even though this device has no internet, the messages will all route from me to Eric to the folks at home, and then all like over the internet, and you get this really interesting kind of multimodal mesh thing going on, where you go Bluetooth to outside internet to whoever's computer at home, if anyone at home wants to try. So that's kind
cool.
of the Briar spiel, I think. Does anyone have any questions?
I have a question, and this might be so that I don't know what I'm talking about.
No.
I have been dipping my toes into Bluetooth.
Oh boy.
I'm
sorry.
So I guess my thought is, does this work across all different versions of Bluetooth? Is it Bluetooth Low Energy?
Yeah. No, these are great questions. It uses Bluetooth Classic right now. We some of the like contributions that I've made to Briar is experimental Bluetooth Low Energy research, looking at not only ways of just firstly doing this, but with Bluetooth Low Energy to maybe model that. But the other thing that we've been interested in is solving this seemingly easy problem of just having, this is an iPhone for those that can't quite see it. Just solving this problem of just having this like array of mostly modern devices. This is like a Pixel 3, Pixel 4, Pixel 5 or 6. And that's like an iPhone 11 or something like that, maybe 10. No, 10 is a weird one. Just solving the problem of having all of those, like they all talk Bluetooth, but solving the problem of just like creating a standardized open source library of just doing basic connections and information passing between all of these 4 devices is like research team of 5 people funded for 2 years.
Why does it have to be so hard?
Yeah, it's so annoying. And it's because there's just so if you want to support the wide range of iOS devices and the even wider range of all possible Android devices and different implementations, it becomes a nightmare. And then you're not even talking about desktop for support for all of that, which becomes very, very annoying. One thing that I will say is that KDE Connect, for those folks at home, this is a Uclub here. This is a good drop. KDE Connect is this. It's trying to be like the Linux version of this kind of Apple continuity thing, which is this, like if you have an iPhone and an Apple computer, you have this thing where like when you copy something on your iPhone and then log into your computer, your clipboard will have the same kind of contents. Hey, what's going on? So KDE Connect's kind of this like open source Linux version of it, and they just shipped Bluetooth transport, which is super, super interesting. And I haven't had time to dig into it yet. But maybe they did something where they created their own open source library or something like that. He's making a chessboard. Very cool. Wow. But oh yeah. Thank you. So yeah. KDE Connect, very exciting stuff. What I think they did though, and the big kind of reason why this becomes super hard is both iOS and Android, their kind of platform for doing Bluetooth. It's called Google Nearby is the Android version of it, and iOS has, I don't even know what it's called. I haven't even dug into it. But one big barrier is that Google Nearby is for Android proprietary right now. So you would have to basically go in and re-implement everything in like an open source project or something. And then it would end up being a worse product as Google Nearby because you wouldn't have the same OS integration. So there's a lot of like barriers for this type of thing. The other thing that I will mention is that Briar crushes your battery life because it kind of needs to be polling in the background constantly because you're basically running your own chat server. But on that note, and this is also, if I have one of these, like you said, basically Briar to solve this, I do have it on that. It's fantastic. And it's, look at that. This is basically to stop because these things were, let's just delete. Oh, maybe it won't even let me run when I don't have internet connection. That's kind of fun. But so in this happy path where you have internet connection and everything's kind of going, Briar developed this mailbox application, which is really, really brilliant because if anyone out there has tried to set up an IRC server, a matrix server, any of these things, they kind of become a nightmare. And the really cool thing about Briar Mailbox as being like a self-hostable kind of mail server, but it's only for you. So it's more closer to like an email server, something where it's like just for your account, kind of. It's right now it's an Android app and a Java program that you can run on your PC. And all you do is just run it, and then it gives you a QR code, which you just scan from inside Briar's app. And they basically automatically link because it uses Tor network to do all the nasty kind of hole punching stuff and all the firewall circumvention and all the crazy stuff. So it allows you to kind of self-host a server in just like one QR code scan, which is kind of the gold standard for how everything should be, but for some reason it's not. That's a really another kind of amazing thing. It allows you to really kind of self-host and kind of have your own infrastructure for everything in a way that's not like super annoying to do. Okay, so that's a big spiel on Briar. Did that kind of get into your question? Does anyone else have any questions before we go on? Yeah, thank you for getting on that.
Oh,
Yes, I got the test.
let's see.
Yeah, here, let's do a group chat. So if we do a thing, we can go, what's a good name? Uclub. So now I created a Uclub repo, and now I can share this with E. You can also share it with Bob. And then you should get something. And again, this is all over Bluetooth. These things still don't have any internet. That's a debug app. Cool. So now you can see on the other side, we get like a nice little decline accept here. If y'all want to see this, it's like a nice little message saying like, "Oh, you've been invited to whatever." Yeah. Oh, nice UI. So now it says Alice has shared the forum uClub with you, so we can accept the invite. And then now we should have in our thing, I'm here. Ooh. So one other slightly interesting thing, if y'all want to come in close, yeah, sorry, you want to come in close. Yeah, you don't have to. But so what basically is going on here is this device. You can see. And let's hold on, right this way. The contacts here all have these kind of green identifiers next to them. So for this device, it has both of these two devices added as like trusted contacts that it did this QR code handshake with. But then on this device doesn't have E added contacts. So everything is going through the trusted contact that this device has to be delivered to that device. So you kind of naturally get this kind of interesting insulation of trust when using Briar, because you're kind of only ever making connections to people that you've either done this kind of QR code handshake with, or the thing that we haven't done, which is exchanging codes, which is how you do it over the internet. And just like a thing, you can see the on E on this device has one trust level, which means that they don't know who it is, basically, because they have no way of directly connecting to that device.
But if we did the little QR code,
Yeah, if we did the QR, and
or
I
the
think,
other cute, the other
yeah,
code thing.
here, if you want to try it with this one, actually, I think it should. There's new, I don't know. Like one thing that's been like an issue that people want is the ability to like, if we would have done the code, so when you add a new contact here, get this for the vlog. It gives you two options for adding contacts, which is adding a contact at a distance or adding a contact nearby.
Oh,
So distance would be this kind of code thing that gives you like a URL that you have to somehow get via some other messaging app or some other thing to connect. And then contact nearby is what we just did. So if we want to try that, it should pop in and it should like verify that.
It's really good contact. About that.
Yeah. Yeah, the codes are a bit annoying to do in person, which is kind of funny.
That's not bad, bro.
Let's see. All right, let's hope. I think this one has been a note for some reason. This one's running like stock Android, like the Google one, and it's been for some reason it's been super slow with Bluetooth. I don't know why. I also bought it very used. I don't know why that would do anything, but yeah, the one that we did earlier was running graphene super quick, which is interesting. And this one's going to take forever, but hopefully it'll work. Well, fingers crossed the Google OS will do the thing.
So what right now it's broadcasting via Bluetooth looking for that code match.
Yeah. So basically what's going on is there's too much information. It's like exchanging public key information for those that know like cryptography stuff. There's basically not enough. There's no QR code that you can jam enough stuff in there to like to fit like 2 or 3 public keys worth of information into one. Here, could not connect. Interesting.
What's the most you could put in?
I have no clue, but it's not enough. So
it depends on the version of QR.
Yeah,
There's more compact ones as you go along, but those get harder
It's
to
almost the
read
same.
by cameras.
So yeah, Google, fix your operating system. No. For some reason, it's something with this phone. I just updated it too, trying to make this not happen. But hopefully it'll
It's
work.
the spyware on it.
Yeah, it's all about it's phone at home being like, what's going on? No. But yeah, so it bootstraps a Bluetooth connection using the information that's passed visually through the camera. Basically. So it like uses the bits of information that's encoded in these things to set up a secure Using that. Sorry, it's not totally important. Yeah, look at this.
So I have a
I'm also on a debug version of Briar. There's a bunch of bad things with this, but hey, it worked after all that. So now if we go back to the forum, let's see. And now you can see it went from untrusted to trusted. So now that's awesome. So now I can say, I can reply and say, yay. And then it also went to this phone. Look at that. Briar does what it's meant to do. Cool. So yeah, there's a lot of other really kind of weird, cool things. There's also like an RSS feeder for everything. What's going on?
So I have a question.
Oh, yeah,
The
sure.
QR codes that we just saw,
Yeah.
are they temporary?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. People online couldn't do anything with them.
Well, that was my question.
Yeah.
Once this gets broadcast,
That's kind of the whole point. Is like it's the QR codes are only used in conjunction with additional data that's transferred over Bluetooth. So basically, start this one-time encrypted like enclave, which then they use to then build a more secure, long-term like key ratchet system, which goes over. But yeah. Anyways, that's the Briar spiel. Very cool, very fun. Kind of the core thing here that got me interested with Briar is this ability of kind of making online communities and digital spaces that don't require any server hosting or anything like that. And then the other thing that's also very nice about it is that all the peer-to-peer stuff that goes into doing peer-to-peer connections actually makes it loads easier to do centralized, to do server, client server type things, because now you have this like solid way of actually making connections over the internet where one kind of long, maybe not human readable identifier actually maps to one device, no matter where that device goes in the world or anything like that. So, and again, that's like this Briar mailbox thing, which we could talk about later. But all right, it's been long enough. Let's get into what the heck's going on over here with this thing, which looks like it's crashed with the full computer. Oh yeah. Oh shit. Just a heads up, is anyone with flashing lights before we get into this?
beware flashing lights.
Yeah, beware flashing lights are gonna come because we have to recalibrate this.
Okay. Well, I mean, you did drop it. So.
Yeah, but it seems
I don't think it was that.
empty.
Man, I'll just do it. That one right? Yeah. This is some.
You ever read that book, Cyberstorm?
No.
It's just fiction, but he has the basic concept is there's been some sort of infrastructure, cyber, something gone wrong. But at the same time, there's a snowstorm that's coming to New York and everyone's got disconnected. And they use sort of these mesh networks, chat apps to interact with folks and stuff.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I'm gonna have to check that out. It's the kind of stuff
That author tends to like pick things that are sort of on the edge of possibility, like, and then sort of incorporate them into a story.
That's awesome. Yeah, here it is. I mean, all right, so beware of flashing lights. Light show incoming.
So if we move the keyboard now, that's calibrated. I guess I'm asking, does it need to have a clear surface to calibrate?
Here, maybe this will answer your question once we get it. Basically, what's going on? Fingers crossed. Hey. All right, we're kind of back with our new. I wonder if that camera didn't move a little bit. Fix that later. So, when we take it out of frame, so it's using that camera there. Basically, what's going on is each of these QR codes are programs, And as they come into camera range, they get loaded into the operating system that's running, and this is like its own kind of operating system for like pitching. It's like a whole bunch of threads that are running on like a Ubuntu build or something like that. So this program says like it's using OS like terms, so it's like not that interesting, but it's saying like this is a keyboard display and editor at wherever this program is. So every time it gets loaded in, it says this thing represents a keyboard, run an editor there, and we can start like editing things in this one. So we change this to blue, and hopefully it works. Okay, so just stepping back for a sec, kind of contextualizing all of this. Briar gives you kind of this way of doing online communities and building online spaces, because again, like at its core, Briar's using a separate library called Bramble under the hood to actually do this is what this like data sync library is going on. And Briar uses that to just build a chat app, but theoretically you could build anything where you have any kind of system where you could do that you need like data synchronization and like digital identities and stuff like that in an open source way. You could potentially use Briar for something like this. So it's kind of this strong base for building these kind of online communities that then you can use when you're in person like this, like all of us here. When you come in and actually meet in person, when you're using Briar applications or Bramble applications for these things. The whole idea for like the pitch is that these programs they can function no matter the infrastructure, because all of your kind of consumer devices are actually hosting the networking infrastructure for whatever applications that you need. And yeah, so it's this kind of like there's this really amazing piece which I can link for anyone interested, written by one of like maybe founding members of the whole Briar Bramble idea, but it's like an essay kind of talking about this kind of vision of having these applications where you can have these online communities and all of these strong metadata privacy rules and all this thing, really strong privacy. Metadata prevention, I think, is metadata protection is the term. But then the same applications then they not only work when you're in person, but they can arguably you could make them work better. Okay, long spiel, but the pitch with Folk Computer and the pitch specifically with this specific interface type of thing for the Folk operating system is to explore this whole idea of like social programming and kind of group programming, because and this is something that resonates with me. I don't know if it resonates with all y'all, but if you've ever done pair programming, pair computing, where like your friends on computer and like can't find the button where to put the mouse, and you're just like it's right there, move the mouse, and all these things. For some reason, the traditional interfaces that we have for computers and for operating systems, they don't, once you're kind of in person, it kind of diminishes their functionality and stuff like that. And I don't know if you guys had this experience, but a lot of times, especially with like programming projects and stuff like that, but when you have in-person meetings, there's kind of this vibe that you're just kind of like gonna do the actual hard work later when you're all like independent at your house with your like setup with your own personal computer and your whole setup, and just doing this idea of programming in person and is like it just kind of feels like everyone's stepping over everyone's toes and stuff like that, if that makes any sense. So Folk Computer is this idea to try to build computationally enabled spaces, which is a fun term. And it has its own programming language, and its kind of main pitch is trying to build these places where people can all kind of interact and build programs that all kind of interact with each other and that independently can actually like help each other. And having this feeling of when you're doing pair programming of like, get out of my part of the code, go back to your bit and I'll finish this function and then you can go. So this kind of has this totally different way of actually approaching group programming, which I find very interesting. So idealized kind of thread between the two is Briar gives you this strong networking foundation for building these online virtual communities. And then Folk Computer, right now at least, has has some really interesting ideas for programming, reactive systems that can be kind of edited in parallel. But then it also has a bunch of really interesting ideas of actually building computationally enabled spaces, which I feel like Briar, to a slight extent, kind of gives you this idea of like when you're all meeting in person and your phones are all communicating via Bluetooth or something like that, you can kind of create these ad hoc kind of mesh networks which you can build little ad hoc programs to kind of computationally enable whatever outdoor space or whatever arbitrary space you want. Anyways, so yeah, does anyone want to start programming this thing? Yeah. So I guess we'll just do like a little programming class for both OS.
So, all right, first of all,
Any questions? That was a lot. That was way more than I.
show us the setup first. What have we got going on here?
So here, I'm going to adjust that camera and then about the recalibration. So yeah, this is a very suspect thing. Please, I hope it doesn't crush me. So this is a 60 FPS, really cool webcam that we got off the internet. And its whole job is to basically take like 60 frames per second images of the table.
You got a standard projector up there?
Yeah, and then it's just a standard gigantic projector through 10 feet in the air. All right, so watch.
Connected to this device?
Yeah, connected to this B-Link device, running on Ubuntu. Yeah, we're running the Flash. So yeah, so if you go to, I should have gotten the actual QR codes of the Folk website. Actually, I don't know. Do you think I can write on this? Anyways, well, let this boot up for a second. But it's running this operating system. Yeah, look at that.
So that's the computer that's running all this.
Yeah.
What's this?
This is my KDE laptop. So this laptop's SSH'd into that laptop, which is then doing all of the things. It's very, very nice. Oh, brilliant. I think that'll work. Yeah, it should work. The website. Oh, this is great, actually. Wait, is this? Oh, that's actually kind of better. All right, this is brilliant. So the website, folk.computer, and they have an article called Table Shots on the website.
EL.
EL, is it LE? I can't spell. This is why we need AI, right? Anyways, so they have a really long article called Table Shots, which goes over programming in the system and a lot of their ideas. So this is brilliant now that I can actually write it. So there's also this paper called Folk Interfaces. Find this is a web article. Web like blog post, I think is a nice way to say it. It's a really cool blog post. But it's written by one of the founders of this project, and his name escapes me. Apologies.
You get these grind response, these are actually expensive.
Oh, interesting. So there's two main here. If we pull that in. It's if you search Folk interfaces, and I don't think I have a DuckDuckGo account or something, so this should be global, I think. There's this great article by Maggie Appleton. Does that show up enough?
Yep.
This is the one that I was talking about. It's this article called, and here, I'll show everyone. If you search DuckDuckGo, it's the second. It's called Folk Browser Interfaces. And this is by one of the founders. And basically the whole piece goes over how they, with their job, they would make all these kind of impromptu little interfaces using HTML and JavaScript and everything to build build weird little tools to help them solve problems for their job and everything. So here, this. Spell that. I think it's. So here, also, I think it crashed again. But all right, we're restarting it. But yeah, look at that. So, anyways, this is where the name comes from. Is this whole idea of building kind of impromptu little setups to help you kind of solve or help you solve problems stuff, and allows you to quickly kind of throw together these weird little things that then like help you do whatever. I don't know. It's fun, and we'll get into a little bit of what this means. We'll actually get into that. But this Table Shots article is kind of the best article to learn a lot about the Folk programming language, which is it's a superset of TCL, which is a crazy language that from the 90s or something. You know any history? I don't know either. It's very strange. Yeah.
Unix.
Yeah. No, there were
Tool control language, I think.
It's crazy. It's just really kind of wild scripting language and stuff like that. And then they've went and written their own procedures on top of that. They'll allow you to write like in full sentences, and it's very, very wild. And of course, now everything just looks flashing. Oh, all right. Yeah, it's just something. We just gotta hit the old restart, recalibrate.
1988.
What's that?
It's TCL.
Yeah.
Tickle
Yeah.
from 1988. Says Dan. Thank you, Dan.
There's still a lot of stuff going on.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, it's really neat. But again, so the core idea with the Folk operating system is really focused on this idea. All right, operation looks good. The core idea is providing a kind of substrate that on top of it, it gives you this programming language that allows you to coordinate a whole bunch of peripherals as easy as possible. That's kind of the goal with the Folk operating system, is to really have all of these signals. I have a program that uses these. So
sorry.
No. This is good. This is a good transition into something that is kind of interesting. My program that uses the dock. It's fun. Yeah.
All right. So I see barcodes.
Yeah. So these are called April tags. These are similar to QR codes, but they encode less information, I think, and they're more for they're fiducial markers for robotics. So they're basically someone provides some C library or something like that, which does image recognition on them, which you like give it a frame that is like the frame of the webcam. Then the April tags thing kind of comes back with the location of all of the tags, basically. So this is like some standard thing that is used a lot for robotics to find to like map. Once you have like a camera set up, it'll help tell you how where things are relative to each other.
So different from QR codes, it not only tells you what's the information that's in it, but where that barcode is.
Exactly.
That's interesting. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So
Important for robotics. 360 degrees.
Is that the angle? Yeah. So that's a knob that uses the angle.
Oh, sorry.
And then the 360 went to zero.
Once
you
I
know what? I definitely wrote the program on the keyboard. I don't even think it's getting. And then in the restart, we lost it. We lost my little. All right, so here we'll just do it now. We'll do it live, folks. So this is the editor. It's very fun. Here, wait. If we say wish,
And it's because your keyboard
exactly
is here.
exactly
Okay.
is outline.
I did
think
that.
No, I think we don't lose it. That's kind of interesting. So the canonical thing to do is you can change the outline of the program. So because this is a live editor, this is a little weird. It kind of looks like it's this program, but it's not. Oh, did we just have? No, we're good. We're good. I gotta adjust that again, but we'll get there at some point. So for every other program, the region that is associated with the program is like approximately the top half of an 8.5 by 11 sheet. So you can see it kind of approximates it. It's a little different because the projectors are not like a standard distance, but I think the region is meant to approximate. So that's like the canonical example of the region with the thing. So that's this outline that's outlining right now. When I say like wish this is outlined blue, it's saying like basically draw lines that represent the region of this program. And because it's an editor, it's kind of weird. It like technically it's this program that everything's mapped to, but it's like proxying that there's a program right there. If that makes sense. So like the proxy setup is that like when we print this out, there'll be a QR code there and whatever. Okay, so if we say when this has region R, and I think this is, I don't know what this is. This might be tickle stuff. It's pattern matching. It's a pattern matching notation, and then this is like the canonical way of getting the region, like the center points of a region. You say like region centroid, and then you use the variable R. So what's going on here is we say when this program has a region called R, which is going to be this area in this specific example, we're going to take the region's centroid points, and I don't know what LSign's totally doing, but we're basically passing, I think these are like getting arguments out of this variable, which is the kind of like pattern match of R. So we're saying, let's get the two center points for it that represent like the coordinate points of this, and we'll call that Rx and Ry. And then we'll say, wish to draw a circle with X, and then use variables Rx, Y, Ry. It's like, oh yeah, sorry. We're running into things. You can also do this. X, Y, thickness 5, color red. And hopefully I didn't miss anything. I missed it. There's another radius. Ah, there it is. Circle needs a radius. So now we can do another fun thing. We can add another pattern statement. And we can say, I think it's like what do we call it? Orange knob is, when we pattern match on that, we call it like okay, just garbage variable naming. Apologize, everyone. And if we say, now we should have an adjustable, very sheet. There it is.
It's using the radius as.
Yeah. So here, let's see. That camera's really misaligned. We'll get to it. So what's going on here? And again, this is kind of this idea of coordinating peripherals. Is we have this orange knob set up where this is a separate program that's saying, okay, I want to get the angle of me, and I want to broadcast it using this phrase called a claim. So the main things are
I'm sorry, what phrase?
it's called a claim. So we say like claim this is something, And whenever you do a claim, you're basically broadcasting this value using whatever kind of words you're using here as the pattern to match against it. So we're saying like claim in this specific example, if this program something like claim orange knob is whatever angle I am. And then so it's every time that program is kind of moved, it runs this claim which readjusts its angle. And again, this is on that program. I'm just writing it here to just show. And then this program is saying, it's using this phrase at the beginning, the orange knob is, and then whatever that value that it brought, that it's claiming to be, is mapped to this variable OK. So then we say, wish to draw a circle with X, RX, Y, RY, radius OK, and then everything else is just static. And so now that uses us, that allows us to kind of bind to this value that's being broadcast to the kind of operating system. So you can have as many programs as you want on the table that are all kind of binding to this, watching this value and get rerun every time it changes.
But now the circle is in this barcode area, right?
Yeah, so if
It's just this controls the radius.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So the region doesn't change. The region is still that blue area. And we can even add like another thing to just say like, wish this object as outlined or is. See, this is why the sentence stuff is crazy. So now you can see that it keeps the same region. I'm using the wrong side of that. It keeps the same region, which is why the XY point stays the same, because we're setting the center of the circle to be the center of our program's region. And it does that. So here, we can actually print this. And now I gotta go run across the room.
And you're going to the printer?
Yeah.
Okay. The printer's over there.
Oh, yeah. So this is associated with the keyboard.
Right. It's the editor.
So if he's writing a new program, which we just printed out.
Where did he specify this particular barcode as a reference?
I think it's called the orange knob.
Orange knob. Yeah. Does he call it orange knob on the piece of paper?
Sounds like it's just like a global variable.
Yeah, it's basically like a global state. Exactly. So it goes to this whole idea. So now if I don't know what happens when we put those one down. Will it break the system?
Oh, you got two.
Oh yeah. So
no,
this actually makes sense. Okay.
So
Cool.
then we'll turn that those.
Yeah, it'll turn both because now they both rely on that variable. Look at that. Wow. So yeah.
But it's following the top half of that piece of paper.
Yeah, so now this is. So now that there's an actual QR code associated with the program, you can kind of more easily see the specific program's region, which is just like region is just something that the operating system provides that has a lot of built-in points that allows you to do all this kind of computational geometry stuff.
But now that barcode is different than this barcode.
Exactly. Yeah, so you can see this is, this program's an editor, which is very different.
Okay, so this is the editor program.
Yeah, so it's only 2D, and that's another good point, is that they only have 2D calibration right now, and eventually they'll have like they have 3D that will land kind of soon. I don't think it's actually doing any meaningful tracking in 3D, but it just kind of is trying to figure out. It looks like a distorted 2D one to it, I guess. I don't know.
How small could a April tag be before?
That's a good question. I have no clue. We just kind of put the thing up and then just walk away. Yeah, good idea. Not right now. Right now, the whole setup is just one display, one camera input, one everything. Here, and actually,
For your setup.
yeah, and check this out. So we can actually, nice. Look at that. Oh yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, my main question was what happens if you have two instances of the same code?
It just
It's
back and
popping
forth.
between
Yeah,
the two.
yeah. I think that makes sense. They're both showing the same ID.
Yeah.
So I guess it's whatever one it sees first. So the other cool thing is that we don't have to. Again, sorry, folks at home, you guys can't do this. But if you go to 48, this is the fun bit of it. If you go to HTTP, not S, it's a local thing. Don't worry. I think it's this local. It's like a port I have to find. Folks at home, please don't hack us in some way. Which I don't know. Or, so if y'all go to that, there's an editor that you can use in your web browser, and you can actually write virtual programs that will show up on here, which is nice because we don't have. I don't have like 50 keyboards to, which I would like to have.
That's connected to this web.
So this is the local instance that's running here. You're basically connecting to that. No. It's a good question, and it's really neat because it shows. So there's a bunch of really fun things you can do. And we'll do. I guess it's probably would be useful to do this. On mobile, it's a little cracked. So if you go to just the root path on this, it's here. We can show this. It has a nice web UI for the thing, so you can look at the running programs. So this is something that is really cool that you all, if you go to, it's just /programs instead of /new, you can actually see all of the current programs that the system's basically jumping through on the operating system, because they've implemented the entire operating system in this way, which is really neat.
Which some of them you've printed out,
Yeah, exactly. So, but that is
but not the operating system.
Yeah. No, this is something that took me a while to understand, and hopefully I can kind of explain it in a way that makes sense. Basically, if we all see, there's like a zillion different programs going on here. So obviously these things aren't all printed out on the thing. So what's going on is all of these programs, except for like 5-ish, are all what's called virtual programs, which means that they're like, if there was like another virtual table next to us, all of the programs would be virtually on that table. Programs in the virtual program directory. So this is like this is the program that runs all the programs, I guess. But then if you scroll one down, this one is the one that's running our editor. And then all the other programs right at the bottom are the ones that we have loaded onto the system. That makes sense. So all of the current running programs you're able to kind of inspect it and see what's going on. You're able to see what the implementation of what a region is and all of this fun stuff, which is really, really cool. The one thing that I kind of do wish is that they had a way to like directly edit them in here and also like delete virtual programs. I think that could be really cool just to mess with the system, but that's something that they'll do down the line. But yeah, if we go back to the web editor, were people able to make it onto the web editor that path? So I will go there also. So I recommend y'all to zoom out if you can in whatever browser you're using. Like I use like the Firefox for iOS, which is really just Safari. But anyways, it has a zoom button. Which is I have no clue where it would be on Safari. But basically, this is a virtual program where we can also print. It's basically the equivalent of this, but we don't immediately see it, and we can't move it around. And I didn't know how to move it around for a while. So this is a virtual program that says, wish this is outlined blue. And I just hit save, which means add this to the virtual table that's running kind of behind the scenes, if that makes sense. So then what I didn't know for a while is that you can actually move the editor on the web page and it moves the piece of paper. And again, it's really weird because it's like web touch interface, kind of move stuff around. But you can see as it kind of jumps, there. It's like just jumpy. You can kind of move it around in the thing and move it around on the thing. So if folks want, this would be and then you can kind of just use it, and then you hit save, and then that kind of overwrites. That's the equivalent of me doing save here. And if you refresh the page, you lose it. Well, you lose the. So if folks want to, they can start using this kind of web editor to actually like pick a unique color, like I don't know, you can do yellow, and hit save, and then kind of figure out where your program is, and you can kind of move it. And I don't know, we could try to make it work for a couple people on a program. They could move their thing, somehow move their thing to different corners. Let's see if zooming in actually makes it easier. Maybe. But yeah, this gives you like a full-fledged editor with no IDE goodness, but very fun. It's a text program. All right, can you show us the triangle that you had there earlier? So many programs. I also have also good ones somewhere.
That triangle is this program right here?
Yes, exactly. So this one uses kind of a similar thing. This program is its own slider. So what's going on here is as we rotate the program, it changes the thickness of the stroke to draw this. Vaguely interesting. But so the thing that's going on here is this is probably like roughly. What's going on here is these are all just programs that say like claim this program is P0, some label called P0, P1, and P2. And then all of these programs you can see where we'll just put if someone claims P0 is P0, which is a wild sentence, but it's basically saying when someone is claiming that, and then this is kind of the pattern match to pull out the value so that you can get the coordinates of it, is P0. So that's how you use it to kind of pull down that value. And then we have this stroke angle, which is the angle of the program that's used to kind of adjust the shape. So, and then this is kind of the meat of the program where it goes through and uses all the points and their X and Y values and stuff to actually control the Bezier curve. Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff. This one's a fun one. If you go to this frame image head, whenever this one's on the table, it hosts a web server that publishes every time you refresh it the current picture of what's going through the web form right now, which is really interesting. So it's another thing where it's kind of interesting where like it's like coordinating stuff with this peripheral device. And it's like you deploy it, hosting the server, and it's very, very wild. It's like a way of like doing reactive stuff where every time this is it changes some web endpoint somewhere, which is kind of wild.
All right, Paul, I think our stream is going to kick us off in just a second.
Right.
Are there any questions from anyone online?
You can see it, take a picture. If y'all go to it, you'll see it. But you'll see that that camera is very too pointed down and not covering the table that much, which is why it's like barely getting this. But yeah. If anyone has a question.
Anyone online have a question? Say that again? The Linux user script uses Stixi and have for years because it's free and open source. No, YouTube has a time limit. We're broadcasting to YouTube live, and that's the way that we record our session. So if you go to YouTube and look for UC Log or Ben Francis, you can see this later on, and you can hear all the noise in the background too. That you know that this is an actual makerspace.
All right, sorry in advance for
Oh, flashing again.
Yeah, if you want to move it.
Ooh, calibration. Ooh.
So now it should cover most of the table. Actually.
Hi, Jace. Has this meeting ended? I can end the live stream if you'd like.
Yeah, I think let's go ahead and stop that.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
And I think we'll otherwise adjourn for tonight if that's okay with everybody, unless anyone has a question or something.